I've always allowed the crags and mountains to dictate my goals in climbing. This way, I feel like I get the best of a spontaneous and fun approach to climbing, but can still be focused and goal-driven when the time is right. The Arrochar Alps near Glasgow was where I grew up climbing, but it had been a while since I've regularly climbed there. There was always this wee roof in Benanlochan that we'd looked at but never got round to. Willis Morris started developing it, but I knew there were a few hard routes there that I could go and try. It was a flying visit from Magnus Midtbo when we collaborated on my movement technique course that prompted me to revisit it. It allowed us to climb outdoors on an otherwise bad forecast. Unfortunately, our day was a little bit breezy and wet, even to finish the easiest of the projects I'd bolted. As always, the spontaneous decision to go there locked in my curiosity, and I could hardly help but to go back and finish what I'd started. In April, I kicked off with the same line that I tried with Magnus, which culminates in a V8 or maybe V9 boulder problem right at the end.
There we go. Nice. That is so cool. Right. That'll do for today.
The crux is hard enough that even if the individual moves don't feel too bad, it takes a little bit of extra effort to maintain pressure with the left foot for a moment longer, long enough to stick that rail.
Oh, I knew I was going to fall off then. And after working all that out, I completely forgot what to do. Idiot.
The second try was more error-ridden with numb fingers fumbling the holds, but remembering to pull with that foot right to the last moment made a big difference.
Yes! Oh, my hands are so cold. Woo!
It was a beautiful spring day and my head was full of excitement that I could spend many more such days here through the summer. But the Scottish summer didn't work out that way, and so my next visits were spent bolting more lines in the rain. On many of the days, I spent hours in my car waiting for the rain to go off, finishing editing my new book about the great start I had in climbing and why I was able to catch up to the climbers who were much better than me and eventually do the hardest trad route in the world. The most famous of the Arrochar Alps is the Cobbler, and I have a chapter in Moving the Needle about a defining moment in my life when I first realised how powerful the source of your motivation can be in determining how far you can go. As a 16-year-old, I failed to climb this route on the south peak of the Cobbler with a rope and a climbing partner, but after being consumed by curiosity about the moves above my high point, I returned the following weekend and soloed it. It was the first really great moment of my life, filled with the excitement that I knew how to get so much more from myself. Thank you so much to all of you who have been pre-ordering my book over the past week. I've been overwhelmed with the response, and if you've not seen the book, there's a link in the description. Oof. Well, I am absolutely exhausted. That was another massive day. But that route's all clean and ready to go. That route, well, I still haven't done the move on it, but I got closer. Bit of work to do on that one really. Hardly even hold the camera, so tired. Time to go and eat some food. One fantastic thing about new routing is watching a climb that you spent time cleaning become other people's projects. I knew this 7C Plus would become popular, and I later enjoyed watching others trying these excellent moves. One issue with the bunker was that the two king lines of the crag, crossing the widest part of the roof, would be at least 8C, closing it off to most climbers. But while bolting the straight up lines, I spotted a line of holds that crossed the entire roof, going through all of the best steep terrain, but without the desperate cruxes. I was really pleased with this line, a classic 8A stamina route, open to those without hard bouldering strength, if you have the staying power to get to the other side. By June, all that was left was the main event, the two 8C projects. The right hand one was very cruxy, with one very long reach between crimps in the roof. I think a taller climber might not find this so hard, but I repeatedly failed to find a way to make it work. I thought of a name for this project, core pain, since the weird toe hook drop knee method for the crux caused me an abdominal strain that is still painful now. When that got too sore, I eventually switched to the left hand project instead, and as new routes sometimes do, it changed several times as I broke some key holds on the crux and cleaned others. It switched back and forth between an 8C prospect and impossible more than once, but I eventually narrowed down a sequence of moves that I could actually do, culminating in a jump for a 2-finger pocket that was the Redpoint crux in the middle of a 10 move section of about V10. I settled into a routine of red points and falls. The route didn't feel a million miles off, but experience has taught me how to make it easier to shrug off repeated falls and get on with what I can control, which is my preparation for the next round. On rock, you can often do this by focusing mainly on the sequence, constantly trying to identify parts of it that could be made more efficient, testing that and repeating. In the process, you also get fit on the route and can move more quickly through easier sections.
Fucking missed it altogether. Twat! See if I'd got my hand on it there, I would have done it. Yeah. Okay, climbing.
The trick is, even when, or especially when, you start to get close and you're falling at the same point repeatedly, don't stop the process of refinement. You can continue to iron out little details on your warm-up burns and before you lower down from a red point attempt. It doesn't take much to tip the scales. If you're open to it, you often learn new things about the sequence right up until the successful attempt. Here, I stuck the crux pocket, but caught it with the wrong 2 fingers. I had practiced this scenario before, and it made the next move harder, but I'd mistakenly assumed that the move after that just wouldn't work, but I was wrong. Getting the intermediate was indeed harder, but the following move was actually easier, and so obviously I kept going. The resting jugs and finishing holds here were catching the runoff and they were soaking wet. This finishing section would normally be a formality, but today I had to stay focused right to the chain clip and be careful not to slip off.
Yeah! Oh, look at the nick of my hands. Oh man, see on there's big wet patches on all the crimps from my feet. Yes! Project done.
What a brilliant new route, but it still leaves that right hand project and that move I couldn't do.